You ever come home and catch someone digging up your land like they lost a bet with gravity? That's exactly what happened to me. Pulled into my own damn ranch to find a backhoe clawing through my eastern pasture like it was mining for gold. At first, I thought maybe the gas company had sent out a crew till I saw the HOA banner tied to a truck, flapping in the wind like it paid taxes. That's when my God did this little clench it only does when something truly dumb's about to explode, literally, in this case. There were two guys in neon vests, digging a trench straight across my property, not 10 feet from a clearly marked pole that screamed, "State-controlled gas line, do not dig." And who do I see standing nearby like she's hosting a lemonade social? Karen. Wedge sandals, floppy hat, and a mason jar in her hand like she's at a church picnic instead of actively breaking federal law. She waved like I was a long-lost cousin. Surprise! We voted to install a beautification feature, she chirped. A what now? A fountain, she beamed, like putting koi fish where my cattle used to graze made perfect sense. Now let me be clear, this wasn't just bad taste. They were trenching into a gas line. One wrong move, this whole place could go up like a flamethrower. I caught the engine, jogged over, flagged down the guy operating the machine. Karen pops out from between us with her laminated blueprint like it's the 10 Commandments. We are within our jurisdiction, she snapped. The board approved it unanimously in a closed vote. You weren't invited because your property technically overlaps the easement. Let me back up a sec. She's saying I don't get a vote on what happens to my own land because it overlaps a utility easement that sits on my deeded property. I pointed at the gas line marker and said, "You mean the one that runs 12 feet underground and could blow us all to Kansas?" Karen gives me that squint like math doesn't add up unless she likes the answer. You don't need to be dramatic, she said, like she wasn't standing in ankle-deep stolen dirt with a backhoe inches from a pressurized line. That's when I pulled the emergency shut-off on the excavator. The operator jumped out like I'd slapped him. "Sir, I ain't touching that line without a permit," he said. "This ain't legal." Karen spun around on me like I'd ruined her brunch. "You'll be hearing from our lawyer." I pulled out my phone. "So with the state gas authority." I called the emergency number printed on the marker. The woman on the other end sounded like I just interrupted her sandwich, but when I said someone was digging into a pressurized line without notification, her chair squeaked, and her voice got real serious, real fast. "Secure the site. Do not allow further excavation. We are dispatching a field team now." Meanwhile, Karen's filming me on her phone, ranting about aggressive landowner behavior. I wasn't even armed unless you count common sense as a weapon, which apparently she did. Sheriff shows up 20 minutes later. Not one I knew, it's Officer Reiner, new guy from the next county. Karen sprints up to him like she's running for HOA president of the universe. "Thank goodness," she says, handing him a clipboard and an iced tea. He's obstructing a board-approved community project. Reiner looks at her, then me, then the big yellow marker that says gas line in bold font. "Oh, that says gas line," he mutters. "Yep," I reply. "She's trying to plant a koi pond on it." Karen, still smiling like a pageant winner, says, "It's about curb appeal." Then the field team arrives in hazmat suits. They don't even look at Karen. Just walk past her, tap the dirt with metal rods, set up pressure sensors, all business. Karen tries to chime in. Clipboard lady holds up a hand and says, "Ma'am, this site is now under state jurisdiction." Karen scoffs, "Excuse me, this is HOA property." "No, ma'am," the agent says. "This is a federally monitored gas corridor, and you just pierced within 3 feet of a valve." Then one of the meters beeps. Loud. "We've got a shallow anomaly," the tech says. "Pressure fluctuation. Northeast quadrant." The air went still. Karen's smile cracked like a ceramic teacup. The agent turned to Reiner, "Evacuate the perimeter." No phones, no electronics, no vehicles running within 50 yards. Karan pointed at me, shrieking, "He's scaring you on purpose. He does this when he doesn't get his way." The agent didn't even blink. "Ma'am, if that leak ignites, we're talking a 30-acre blast radius. Get off the property." That finally shut her up. They sealed off the site, ran full diagnostics. I showed the agent my deed, and she just nodded. This isn't just trespassing, they violated state excavation law. If this escalates, the entire HOA could be liable. I looked at the trench still steaming in the cool air. "What happens next?" I asked. She flipped a checklist with words like escalation protocol and shutdown command. "Next," she said, "we find out just how close your neighbor came to turning the valley into a crater." Here's the twist: Karan didn't crawl away quietly. No. She launched a smear campaign. First it was Facebook post about rogue ranchers. Then she tried to paint me as anti-community, saying I was building an illegal refinery, that I'd scared off the workers, that I refused to support beautification. She even doctored the HOA minutes, claimed a unanimous vote with signatures from folks I know weren't even present. She sent a lawyer to my porch, trying to force me to back down. I just handed him the hazmat footage, drone recordings, and a copy of the easement law. And then, like something out of a TV show, 2 black SUVs rolled up to her place. Not cop, state infrastructure officials. Calm, quiet, suited up with earpieces. They didn't knock. They read her the statute. Walked her property. Taped a notice to her door, "All work cease pending investigation." Karan lost it. Screamed about how I was staging a coup. Called for an emergency HOA meeting to reclaim control. They showed up with folding tables and fake daisies, like staging a press conference in a minefield would earn sympathy points. Cameras rolling, Karan gave a speech about unity, shared vision, and how I was the real threat. So I stepped forward, calmly, and dropped a folder on the table. Inside, the forged minutes, the drone footage, the cease and desist she ignored, and a formal report from the governor's office stating the fountain project violated state safety law. Karan's smile collapsed. Walker, the state liaison, stood up, flashed his badge, and said, "This isn't just civil. It's criminal." The crowd, half of whom had nodded along minutes earlier, went dead silent. The next morning, Karan was removed as chair by her own board. Her name was written into the bylaws as permanently disqualified. She tried to sue, claimed harassment, sexism, character defamation. The state hit back with formal charges: endangerment, permit fraud, falsification of public records. And then, icing on the cake, I got a letter. The state offered to lease a section of my pasture for permanent access to the pipeline. The money. Let's just say it'll fix the barn roof, rewire the well, and still have enough left for a new truck. I signed it that evening, mailed it back with a smile. Funny thing, about 2 months later, a small package showed up on my porch. No return address. Inside, a ceramic koi fish. The fountain topper. Taped to the bottom was a sticky note: "Thought you should keep this. Seems you earned it." No signature. Just closure. So here's what I want to know: when does community pride cross the line into dangerous entitlement? When do rules and votes stop meaning something, and who's left to stop it when they do? Let me know down below. What would you have done if someone tried to turn your land into a time bomb for curb appeal?